Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. If you've been looking for answers in life, wondering the direction to take, whether you should stay in a relationship, whether there's a spiritual message for you, he's got the answers. And he's somebody that has been helping people for over a decade now as a spiritual guide, intuitive life coach, and he's also the founder of 𝐴𝑁𝐺𝐸𝑂'𝑆 Tarot and Astrology Spiritual Guidance. I am talking about Alex Angelo, and he's with us today. Alex, welcome. How are you?
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It's my great honor. I'm doing great. I hope you're also having a great day.
Yeah, doing great here. I love having people like you on because I believe in intuition. I believe that we all have some level of intuition, but some of us are able to tune into it a little bit more or block out the stuff that's around us so that we can hear those messages. What's your belief there in terms of intuition?
Absolutely, 100% agree with you. And that is the core, I would say, that of my business and what I'm doing and how I'm dealing with things. Because the spiritual guidance is basically based on our, as you said, sixth sense, our intuition. So whenever we're using this kind of old methods of divination, which are, in fact, were supposed to be not a divination tool, like the tarot cards reading or astrology reading or intuitive life coaching readings itself, but they were supposed to be a guidance tool always. So whenever we need some sort of spiritual guidance, by the help of those specific methods, by including and incorporating our intuition, we can basically achieve and gain those answers, because those answers mainly is coming from the deep subconscious, and the subconscious knows everything. Probably, I believe that as an intuitive person yourself, you've been reading and knowing a lot about subconscious, but the subconscious is where all the sources of the information is stored.
I 1000% agree with you. And if you were to look at my phone right now, you would see a message on my home screen that says, everything I need is within me now. Everything I need is within me now, meaning that we have all the answers. We just need to access those answers, and sometimes we can't because logic gets in the way, and then we never...
Absolutely.
We never
100%.
hear.
100%. Yes.
So for you, different modalities in using your connection to spirit, tarot cards be one of them, maybe astrology be another one. Do you have any in particular that you like better than the other?
Well, to be honest with you, again, I have been going and learning all sorts of different kind of guidance methods throughout the years of my practice, of my spiritual journey. But mainly tarot cards are more close to me. But again, I don't use only the tarot cards for the purpose of prediction only, as it can be prediction, but how it's working, I will just give you this very short answer to this. It's like the tarot cards can show us the most likely outcome of the made decisions. So this is how it turns automatically into the predictive tool, because it shows us the most likely outcome of the situations if we're going to take an action in one direction or other direction, depending on the choices and options that we have right now in our life. So very easy to switch on to this from this and to that, it's a predictive tool because it showed me what was going to happen. And the way that it works, in fact, it just shows us the most likely outcome by tuning into our intuition, and that's where we decide whether we want to go that way or another way.
I want to get out here now. If you ever want to pull a couple of cards on me to show how it works, or you're getting anything, I'm fully transparent. Just let you know.
Absolutely. I mean, 100%. Like, I would definitely want to, if you're interested in this, of course, I'll be more than happy to do this, because actually I love showing how it works so people understand, because there's a lot of things going on right now around the tarot cards and the mysticism, esoterics. We're living in the era of spirituality, but once we are able to do this, we're able to actually just open up to and tune in with our spirit, as you said, with our intuition, then 100% I can guarantee you that even the guidances are going to be extremely, extremely accurate.
When it comes to astrology, are you fairly deep into it in terms of the different houses and all that kind of stuff?
Well, yes. But again, astrology is not. A lot of astrologers do see astrology as a predictive tool, but I do not. For me, astrology is the same concept of our subconscious that we have. If we'll take a look at the signs of all the 12 signs and the stars, constellations, and everything in the universe, then we're going to see that actually it has very deep, ancient relation to our human subconscious. And this is the way that actually when we're reading the houses and reading doing the astrological charts, natal charts, birth charts, solar charts, they all have that link. And again, by looking at those charts, we can understand what's going on in the inner world of the person much better. And this way we can understand the motives of the person, why the person is behaving this way, basically what are the base of his decisions in this life, and why is he acting one way or the other. So at this point, astrology can help us a lot in order to be able to understand the person's behavior and our own behavior.
Would you say astrology is like the timeline of our lives where things are going to happen along the way, and it's easy to pinpoint them using the stars?
Well, astrology, in terms of astrology, basically, again, it's a guidance tool. Mm-hmm. It can show us certain things, but mainly what astrology can show us that basically whatever we're going through right now, right, and we want to find the reflection of it. And we can definitely dive into our astrological chart or the transit charts and be able to see that and understand the source of the struggle. But also, if we need to make some decisions and understand if those decisions are valid and if they are going to be helpful for us, or if this is going to be the right decision to make, at this point, of course, the astrological charts can be quite helpful as well. But as I said, just like with the tarot cards, it's a wonderful tool to connect our subconscious. It's a wonderful tool to connect with the universal powers and take it from there.
Alex, when did you realize that you had this intuition and that you were plugged into spirit?
Well, at this point, to be honest with you, I had a great mentor, and my great mentor was my grandmother. But she never practiced anything to do with astrology, but she was always an intuitive reader herself. She was a little different, I would say, that back in my country, she was more like a healer and intuitive reader, but it was a little different to what I'm doing. Why? I just got my passion from her and from her guidances, but then I decided to evolve it. Then I decided to dive more into it, to understand what's beneath all of it, of all of it, like how is it working? Because I got so much interested in this, and it happened over about a decade ago when actually I started my spiritual journey in a very, very kind of a skeptical way myself, when I was like, okay, I know that I have intuition, but I need to find a way in order to tune with this. But now, 10 years later, looking back at my spiritual journey, I can't believe how much of a changes I went through, and my soul-wise as well, in terms of my evolvement and everything. And things fell in such a weird way in my life that a lot of people, regardless of what I was doing as a profession-wise and what I wanted to do, were just over and over coming to me for guidance, for advice, for help. And then I started taking it much more serious and deeper. And 10 years later, here I am. I'm in a full position of spiritual guidance. I have regular clients that I've been working for years and over the years again, and all over the world, not only in the United States of America.
Was there any obstacles along the way? Now, I get we're our own critic. You were skeptical about maybe yourself and your talents in the beginning there, but any other obstacles that you have had to overcome?
Yes. Well, the thing is that one of the biggest pushes for me, which was in direction for my soul's evolvement, I would say, was when I was diagnosed with cancer around 7 years ago. So after this one, everything in my life changed. And I decided, of course, when the person faces something like this on our bed, we immediately become more introverted and also more spiritual, trying to understand why was it me, why it was happening to me. And again, that kind of put me in a perspective of looking at the life in a much different way and understand that the logic that creates that skepticism is not helping. So I need to dive into deeper to understand what my soul has been trying to tell me at this point.
If you had the opportunity to do anything different thus far, would you have done something different?
Honestly, to be honest with you, I have had a lot of ideas about my profession changed, but I have again, if you ask me, 10 years ago, if I saw myself as a spiritual guide and with the intuitive life coaching, I wasn't sure. But right now, possibly not, because I can feel that my soul has found its purpose.
You've talked in the past, I've heard about something called the primal three, mind, soul, body. What is that?
Yes. So this is basically what our soul, this is the energy of our existence. And the primal triad is basically when we have the harmony between our body, our soul, and our mind or subconscious. When one of this is lacking in terms of this primal triad, or when there is no balance between this, that's when our life starts falling apart. That's when we get depressed. That's when things start going differently. Because the only thing to pay attention to, even if it's in terms of relationship, even if it's in terms of the business, if we see that something is not working and we can see and feel that inside with the signs, then it means that there is disbalance in the primal triad, where your head, your heart, and your soul is not in harmony. They're fighting with each other. But once we work it all through and then come to a point to balance the energies of the primal triad, my mind is agreeing with my heart is agreeing with my body is in harmony with the soul. That's when things are going to go much better, because that's when we give those higher vibrations and frequencies, and we usually attract exactly what we want. But when we are in the lower vibrational frequencies, because of the disbalance of the primal triad, at this point, of course, things may be going quite challenging in our life. Let's not forget that everything that's going on outside is the reflection of what's going on inside of us.
How do you know when you've gotten all three of them together?
Well,
when everything is, what I mean by that, I just want to clarify, when you know when it's truly in perfect balance.
Okay, so this is a hard one, but that's why this is one of the purposes of the work that I do, and how we work with my clients about when they come for guidance. So what happens in this position is this: if I kind of feel that what I'm doing is right, and I feel no inner conflict with the situation on an intuitive level, whether on an intuitive level or whether on a on my bodily physical level, I can feel that everything is good and there's no anxiety and there's no signs of any kind of disturbance. Then I understand that I'm in the right place and the right time. But when when all of a sudden you make space in the situation, again, as I said, regardless of its relationship, regardless of its business or career choice, if you feel in those struggles inside and those doubts inside, this may be a sign that one of your primal triads is not in harmony, and it's trying to tell you that this path may not be exactly what we want, or at least we may not be ready right now, because we need to get to understand the whole point of the situation before we can actually start, proceeding.
Now, when you speak of being intuitive, does that mean, and you help people on the life coaching level, does that mean that you're picking up on their energy even when you first meet them, and you kind of got a running start in terms of understanding who they are and what their goals are and what they need?
Absolutely, 100%. And how it happens is that, of course, it all happens by the agreement, because what happens is that how the tarot card, let me just explain to you very briefly about the session, how it works, and people wonder how tarot cards work. Tarot cards, as we know, are the symbolism. And on those cards, and we can see on those cards the symbolism that is deeply being associated with our subconscious. So what happened is that when the person is in front of me that I'm doing the readings for, he's agreeing me to give an access to their subconscious while concentrating on the reading session. At this point, we are going to be able to find out everything what's going on inside of the person, how it's affecting his surrounding, how it's affecting their current situation, and from there we are able to see in which direction to go, or what they really want, or what their primal triad is trying to tell them. Because a lot of time people come to me for guidance, which is they come in disharmony with their primal triad.
I'm fascinated that you've connected all of this together, and the life coaching is so important. It's great to have an astrologer. That's great. It's great to have somebody who can be a spiritual guide by way of tarot. Fantastic. But to have somebody who's a life coach that can use those tools to help move you along in your life's path, I think is the perfect combination for helping somebody heal.
Thank you so much. I very appreciate it. And that's the purpose why I decided to take on this. And that's what was making me a little different to my grandmother, because I decided that I'm going to take the spiritual heritage, basically, she gave me and start, working on it and involving it with more of a parapsychological or more of a, wisdom tools and the spiritual guidance tools as the divination systems. But again, if we dive into the history of the divination systems, we'll see that mainly people coming for divination were coming for guidance.
We're going to look deeper into tarot cards, and maybe at some point, maybe another time we get together, you'll pull some cards as an example. But what do you say to people who look at tarot cards and say, well, come on, that can't be real. That's not. They're just pulling some cards out. How do you respond to the skeptical people?
Of course. Well, first of all, I do have a lot of skeptical people first when they come to me, but at the end of the day, and those are my favorite clients, to be honest with me, because when they come like, listen, I'm not really into this. I don't know what I'm doing this, but I need a guidance and I'm lost. And so I start explaining to them how it's working. So the purpose of the tarot cards working is that there are 22 major arcanas, which shows us beginning from the full card down to up to the world card, and these are the indication of the life cycle from the birth to the death, all the levels of the soul that we need to go through and evolve. Beginning from the first card, that is the Fool, where we start the journey, and ending up with the World, where we find the peace with ourselves and accept who we are on the earth. And at the same time, there are 56 other cards, so minor cards, that are situational cards, and those are basically situational cards show us what's going on and what's going to happen or what's going on a situational level right now in our life. And once I'm able to explain to that skeptical person, just like I was trying to explain to you how it's working, then they start kind of understanding it and just, accepting it. And then, okay, so this is more related to our subconscious side. This is more related to our subconscious energy. And basically the tarot cards is the tool, is the door that can open and help you to connect with your own soul and help you to hear your own soul about the ongoing situation in your life.
When you speak about hearing the soul, is that hearing yourself, what's deep inside you that we many of us don't know how to listen to?
Well, yes, it is, but it's more related to the primal thread. So not only hearing your inside, but also when we're doing the tarot card session, we're trying to call all three of of our spiritual beings together in order to be able to gain the guidance. So let's say that when I'm doing the reading for somebody, and I'm asking for the access to their subconscious, and then of course when the subconscious starts giving us that information, we can put them together intuitively. We can build and see the scenario that is going on inside of the person. And from there, if there is needed any kind of life coaching or intuitive life coaching, by seeing the obstacle the person has in their life or what they're going through, then at this point we take it right from there. And if I see that specific that there are any issues that the person needs to work with, like on an inner side or on a behavioral side or on a spiritual side, then we start working with intuitive life coaching techniques at this point to help them. And I can tell you that actually it has been very, very effective for the last years that I've been seeing the results of my work with my clients.
Can you recall a time, Alex, where you did a reading for somebody and it was validated that it was on target?
Oh, many times. The thing is that if you go on you mean that it was on point, right?
Sure.
Yes. So if you actually go on my link tree and that we talked about earlier, so you go into my Thumbtack, and all other platforms where I'm at, the reviews are all there. I never. One thing I can say I'm so proud about. I've never ever had even one four-star review. All my reviews are 5 stars. But again, it's because I'm very involved with what I'm doing, and I dive deep into it, and basically I know with the energies that I'm working.
When you get those feelings, what does it feel like when you have a message for somebody? Are you seeing symbols, signs? What's going on there when you deliver it?
Yes. Well, it's more about actually the symbolism of the cards, if I'm working with the cards or if I'm working with the astrological aspect of the spiritual guidance. This is also about the constellation and their star signs and everything that's going on in their life. But, what I'm just doing that again, mainly I'm trying to dive in and tune in with my intuition when I'm doing the readings, because I am trying to take more of a, not only spiritual or esoterical approach to the situation, but also I'm trying to take, how I'd say, psychological approach to the situation as well, so that people understand that these methods do work, that the message that we can see in the cards can really be helpful once you follow them, once you understand what you want, once you just open up your heart and let yourself listen to it. And then once you see that, you will see the results of the work. You will see how great actually things can work out for you if you follow the guidance.
There's something called the Akashic Records.
Yes.
Do you believe in it?
I do believe in it, because this is one of the principles why I do think that actually the primal triad does exist, and this is one of the principles how the tarot cards may be working as well. There's such a version that when we are born, we have the same kind of, we may have our purpose in life, but at the same time, there are different options and different realities of ourself, parallel realities of ourself, or any kind of situation that we want to achieve. And it is all up to our choice. And one of the versions is that the information during the spiritual guidance readings or spiritual guidance sessions is being taken from the subconscious, specifically from the Akashic records. So, as I said earlier, as an example of it, let's say that you want to open up your business, or you want to just set up a new idea or something. So there are different options on your way how to do this. There are different choices. So the Akashic Records is the kind of thing that shows us what would happen if you go option 1, option 2, or option 3. And so there would be different ways of achieving the same goal, because the goal at the end of the day is to open up a business, right? So what we are doing by analyzing the tarot cards is or again, any other spiritual guidance tool that I'm using during my sessions, is which path is more valid and is more guaranteed to bring you success. And this is one of the versions that Akashic Records, it is basically those realities that we can choose of, and depending on the reality that we choose, we are going to be able to live our life in that direction, in that way.
How do we connect with you, Alex? If this is resonating with somebody, or if they have some questions, they want to learn some more about the whole process, how do they connect?
Of course. Well, the easiest thing they can really do, actually, because I am on Google page. Why? Because I have a lot of platforms, and my Google. If you go and just Google.com and write down Alex Angelo Tarot and Astrology, then or Tarot and Astrology Guidance, then everything on this page will be about me. Basically, the 2 pages of the Google will be dedicated to my podcasts, to my interviews with different LA-based magazines that I've had, to other podcasters that I've been having podcasts, and my platforms where I offer my services. But also, you can definitely go on my link tree, which is www.linktr.ee at Alex Angelo Spiritual Guide. Again, I know it may sound a little long, but the easiest way to get there, that's why it's through Google. You can just Google my name, Alex Angelo Tarot and Astrology Guidance, and you will be able to find all the information about me.
Excellent. And same thing, too. If you go to the Linktree listing of all your links, which I think also come up if you do a Google search, you've got a lot of stuff there, a lot of insight, some of the stuff we've talked about, and even deeper. Alex, great talking with you today. Love your energy and your passion, and looking forward next time we get together.
Absolutely, Steve. Thank you so much. It was my great pleasure to be at your podcast. I'm very honored, and thank you so much for showing interest in my, basically, in my spiritual guidance.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing everything, and perhaps next time we get together, maybe we'll pull a couple of cards.
Absolutely, 100%. I would love that.
Sounds great. We'll talk next time. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Can I touch this? Where does sand come from? Is this tree good for climbing? What happens if I mix these two things together? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Storing your guns securely is the best way to prevent family fire, including unintentional shootings. For more information on safe gun storage and ways to keep your family safe, visit endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org.
What do we keep in the attic? What's this thing called? Can I ride my bike backwards?
Like I said, kids are curious. It's up to us to keep them safe. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.